See? My husband knows what's good for him. He walks into the kitchen. I've got something cooking in the pot already. On this episode of Cooking with the Diva, we are going to prepare a one-pot chicken pot pie. Yes, Adam, I'm making a pot pie. Sorry you can't have any. Maybe if you're lucky, I'll save you some. And, well, I gotta be honest, I was gonna follow the Pampered chef recipe for chicken pot pie chowder, except I don't have all the ingredients. So this is a use what you got in the kitchen kind of pot pie. Right now, in my Rockcrok, I have, as you can see, the steam elevating. I've got celery and onions. Why? We ate all the carrots. There was no carrots. No carrots. There's gonna be carrots eventually. I had a little bit of frozen carrots left over. So right now I've just got the celery and onions sauteing in the pot. It's looking really nice. It's smelling really great. And I'm going to hit it with my house seasoning, which is actually Paula Deen's recipe. It's a combination of salt, pepper, and garlic powder. It's a cup of salt, a quarter of a cup of pepper, quarter of a cup of garlic powder. You mix it all together, you keep it in your house, and you put it on everything, and it's really wonderful. So it'll just add a layer of flavor to the vegetables as we go along. We have a little escapee here, a little onion trying to get out of the pot. Now, this Rockcrok is amazing. It holds heat like a boss. I've never seen a pot like this. I mean, I make soup in it, I make my black beans in it, I make all kinds of dishes in it. And when I take it off the heat, a half an hour later, it's still burning my mouth. It's so hot when it comes fresh out of the pot. This pot is super versatile. It goes from the freezer to the refrigerator, to the microwave, to the oven, stovetop. It cleans up like a champ. They put a lot of magic into this pot when they made it. That's all I'm saying. In fact, it even comes with a stand and it can convert into a crock pot, which is unbelievable. So these vegetables are cooking down nicely. Now I'm gonna add the frozen vegetables. So again, the recipe calls for a little something else. This is what I have in the house. It's a cup of peas, corn, and carrots. I'm gonna put this in here with the celery and onions. Stir it around, let that cook down a little bit. Celery, you know what mirepoix is. It's celery, onions, and carrots, right? So this is legit base for a soup. The carrots add such a beautiful sweetness, but once the onions caramelize, they do too. And I love the savoriness of the celery, and the peas really just pop. They burst with flavor in this dish and in every dish. Now, this past Thursday, I declared it's going to be Thanksgiving. Why? I had a turkey in my freezer. So I defrosted it and I made Thanksgiving. What does that mean? It means I have leftover turkey, stuffing, gravy, boom. So that's how this dish is going to be amazing. So I've got 2 cups of turkey, which I've already chopped up and measured out. Believe it or not, that was actually all that was left over. My guys were super hungry. They've had plenty of leftovers. In the meantime, we're just gonna let that get warm and happy. And again, I need to layer the seasoning. And no, it's not too much salt. Don't worry about the salt. The sodium content in regular Morton salt is really not that much. It's salt from processed foods. That's where you really have to be careful. That's the sodium that's going to be the problem, not the table salt. Trust me. There's good science to prove it. All right. Back in the mid to late 80s, there was a celebrity chef on TV, and he called himself the Frugal Gourmet. Jeff Smith was his name. And my mom had his cookbook, and I kind of feel like this dish is a homage to him. As in, I'm using what I have in the house. I'm making sure that leftovers are not going to waste, and they're going to be basically repurposed for all intents and purposes into this new fantastic dish. A wonderful, beautiful pot pie. So, what am I doing? The meat is warm. Everything has been nicely seasoned, layers of seasoning throughout. Just a little bit of flour that I've measured out. Pampered Chef has a lot of tools, but I'm gonna tell you right now, my favorite tools are my hands. I cook with my hands, I cook with my heart, and it shows. So I'm gonna just put a bit of flour in here to coat the vegetables and the turkey. I just want to make sure it's thick enough. I don't like thin gravy. And then instead of adding broth, I'm going to add the leftover gravy from yesterday. Now I have it measured out, but if you've been following along, you know that I don't follow the rules. I like to eyeball things. So I'm just going to put, oh, that looks about right. I'm going to put enough gravy in here, and I'm going to add it slowly so that it thickens nice and slowly. If you add too much liquid at this point, it'll take a while to thicken. So if you add it little by little, it'll thicken little by little, it'll be creamier. Why did I add the flour at that point? Oh, thank you for asking. So if you add the flour to the vegetables and the turkey that's already been coated in the butter and olive oil, which is the optimum combination for sauteing, it adheres, the flour then adheres to the vegetables, so you don't get any lumps. The only other way to make sure you're not getting any lumps is to melt butter in your microwave or on your stovetop, add the flour to it, whisk it together. Nobody likes lumps. Anyway, just a tip, a little tidbit. Now, this Pampered Chef Chowder recipe calls for milk. I don't have milk, but I have half and half. Now, I was debating whether or not to add it in, but it's half and half. It's gonna make the dish creamier. I love that. So I'm gonna add that in right now. But again, gently, little by little, while this thickens. Now I've got this cooking only at half heat, which is really enough. And this Rockcrok is steaming hot. It's fantastic. And that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna add a little more. Little by little is the way to go. Do you hear that moaning at the end? Oh, yes, that's my Duncan, the dog. He knows I've got something good coming, and he ate plenty tonight, trust me, but this is not for him. This is for my humans. Now, I was debating topping this off with homemade biscuits, because why? Because I don't have a can of biscuits in my refrigerator, but I have all the ingredients to make homemade biscuits. And then I remembered, oh, yeah, I made all this extra stuffing that I didn't need, or we didn't use, or we couldn't fit into the turkey. I'm gonna blow your mind now. Do you know where that stuffing's going? Right on top of this pot pie. Have you ever had pot pie with stuffing on top? I know my brother-in-law has, I know my family has. Mind blown. Mind blown. You have to try it if you haven't yet. So this is looking really good. I think that that's really enough half and half, judging by the way it looks right now. Can you see that? It looks nice and creamy. It's all well blended together, and there's definitely enough liquid in there. So I'm gonna top it with the leftover stuffing, which I left just for this purpose. Ooh, in fact, I'm even gonna remove it from the heat. It's bubbling, it's talking to me, it's looking good. So the stuffing is just gonna go right over the top. Oh yes, that's looking really good. Can you hear how much that's boiling still? Can you hear that? It's kind of incredible. It's so hot, screaming hot off the heat, and it'll be like that for quite a while. Now, I'm a big fan of stuffing, so I can't just leave that little bit left in the bowl. That's kind of sad. So down on top of this beautiful pot pie it goes. Butter, because it makes everything better. I have this butter that I got at the market. It is Amish butter. It comes in a big giant roll, which is perfect for when I'm cooking and I'm not measuring. When I'm baking, not so great, but so I buy both. But look at that, a big beautiful round chip of butter, and I'm gonna put it over the top of the stuffing. It helps the stuffing. I like burnt ends. I'm a burnt end person. And so the idea of like little burnt, crumbly, crispy top of the stuffing is so good. So yes, it's adding fat to the dish, but like, it's a pot pie. Today's a cold day. It's New England. We need a little comfort food. I'm gonna take this Rockcrok, I'm gonna put it in my oven at 400, and I'll show it to you when it's done.
2, 3.
This turkey pot pie smells incredible. Look at that. The stuffing got nice and golden brown on top. Everything is bubbling. The smell in my kitchen is incredible, and I'm pretty sure the teenagers are gonna come running really fast for some of this. Now, this is one of the most glorious one-pot meals I have ever seen. My whole point is it's super easy to use the fresh ingredients you have in your house. Add in some of the leftovers, get creative. Friends, this is the best time to be a frugal gourmet in your kitchen. I hope you've had fun. I hope you've enjoyed watching me prepare this fabulous dish. I'm gonna dig in.